Hello and welcome to FidelityNext, our webcast that helps take students to the next level in their careers. I'm your host, Emily Ananuevo. This season on FidelityNext, we are happy to bring you a series of coffee chats where we sit down with Fidelity Canada employees and dig deeper into what it's like to work in financial services, what their career journey looked like to get here, and any insights they can share on their role and responsibilities. So today, I'm very pleased to be joined by Meaghan Chandler and Paul Aulicino, who will share their experiences with the product research team here at Fidelity. Meaghan, Paul, so happy to have you in studio. You're no strangers to the studio. You've been on camera many times before. How's it going?
Can't complain. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for being here. Really appreciate it. And like I said, we kind of wanted to take a moment to sort of sit down with our employees and sort of, dig deeper into what your career journey has looked like coming here. I know you both have sort of similar journeys in terms of starting as co-op students. So Paul, I'm going to start with you. Mm-hmm. How did you sort of make your way towards Fidelity, and were you always interested in business and financial services in school?
Yeah, great question. I'd say for myself, I was interested in business broadly. Obviously, it's a pretty broad area to go into. I went into my undergrad at Laurier. I was in a business and at the time math program as well. I knew this was an industry I was interested in, but I didn't exactly know what field I wanted to go into. I'd say the co-op program that I was in at Laurier was really what helped me get a better idea of what I didn't like, but at the same time what I was more fond of. Found Fidelity. I did 2 internships here, so I did one in our finance department and then my second in our product department. In the product group, and Meaghan will talk about this as well, you're working more with portfolio managers, more market research. All of that was really where I wanted to be. That interested me quite a bit. And fast forward a year after that, so this would have been about 7 years ago now, I joined on the product team as an investment associate, worked my way up there for a few years, and now I'm on our portfolio solutions team as a portfolio strategist. So wasn't exactly sure what exactly I wanted to do during my undergrad, but as time went on and through those internships, I really figured out what I enjoyed doing and where I wanted to be.
Absolutely, and obviously Fidelity Canada made an impression on you 7 years ago. You've been here ever since.
Definitely did.
Yeah, and we'll dig more into how you sort of made your way up in those different roles. Meaghan, you're an investment analyst on the product team. I mean, did you always knew you wanted to do that, and sort of how did you make your way towards Fidelity?
Yeah, I would say I shared Paul's sentiments about not really being sure what I wanted to do. So I started university actually as a biochemistry major, and I quickly learned that maybe that wasn't quite the right fit for me. Yeah. So then I switched into business, and I just discovered I had a passion for finance. So I did a lot of research, what kind of firms are out there, and I happened to stumble across Fidelity, and there's so many positive things I've heard from people on campus and online about the culture, which I'm sure we're going to talk about a ton. So it really just made me want to start my career off here.
Amazing, amazing. So, to the students out there who may not know what you do on the product, like what members of the product research team does. You said a little bit, you need to have sort of like a finance background, you're interacting with the portfolio managers a lot. So if you could sort of summarize what it's like being on the team, what would you say, Paul?
First off, I'd say when I applied to the roles as a co-op, I saw product. I didn't really understand what that meant.
Right.
So
Product.
what are we selling here? Obviously, mutual funds, ETFs, alternatives, and whatnot. But I guess a day in the life, it'll depend on what area within product you're in. Product research will be quite different than what I'm doing in portfolio solutions. To give you a high-level overview, product itself, you've got product development. They're the ones who are actually creating those mutual funds, ETFs, from the ground up, trying to find new ideas. You've got product research, which is the team Meaghan's on, which you could touch on obviously in more detail, is the team I originally joined on. Once a fund is established, let's say, a portfolio manager is managing that specific fund, let's just say it's an active fund, now the product research team is maintaining it. They're the ones who are putting out communications on that product, the ones who have that relationship with the portfolio manager. There's other, obviously, groups in product from an operations standpoint and whatnot. My group is somewhat newer to the organization. Mm-hmm. We work with financial advisors. So our sales team, who will sell mutual funds ETFs to advisors across the country, my team works with those advisors to help with portfolio construction, analytics, and building model portfolios for them. So that's kind of my day-to-day. But those are a few, I'd say, of the areas within product that would make up the bulk of the exposure. There's, again, it's a pretty large group now.
Yeah, it has
so
grown.
Hopefully that gives a decent summary of.
No, that's a fantastic overview, just to understand sort of like all, all the parts of the team and how you all interact. So Meaghan, are you interacting with the portfolio managers on a daily basis? How does it work in your role?
For sure, yeah. So we're interacting with them pretty constantly. Anytime there's any sort of big market event, any new news, like we have to reach out to them and get their thoughts, right? Because obviously, different advisors, investors, they want to know what, their portfolio managers are thinking for these different mandates. So we're constantly in contact with them so that we can share, latest thoughts, changes to their portfolios, just so that we can, keep the investors up to date.
Yeah, absolutely. It makes sense. So for anybody joining the product team, what are the fundamental skills and abilities you need to hit the ground running, would you say?
Yeah, in my view, again, this would vary depending on the specific role you have, but high level, some of the skills that we'd look for in newer hires is communication skills, strong communication skills, both written and oral. Again, very dependent on the role itself, but like where Meaghan is right now, a lot of both written and oral communication, trying to be the voice of the portfolio managers that you're working with. Myself, oral and written, meeting with advisors every day, having to explain sometimes complex analysis on what their portfolios look like and whatnot. So that, in my opinion, is number one. Number two, I'd say you have to have an analytical background in many cases to understand what's going on behind the scenes. And with that, you also have to have a passion for the markets. Really, in this department, that's the fuel that's running this group. So, a passion for markets, that analytical background, and communication skills are probably the three top things that I would look for. And you want to work at Fidelity. You know products, you have an interest in the company. Those are the main things I'd say.
For sure, absolutely. And I'm just interested, Meaghan, you said that you had the biochem background, then you did the co-ops at Fidelity. So how did you sort of learn along the way? Because many students might be unsure, I don't have a business background, I don't have an accounting background, can I still jump into this field and learn as I go? So how did you adjust that way?
For sure. At least from my university experience, I didn't have a whole lot of like hands-on type work with different Excel or anything like that. I learned so much of it coming to Fidelity. Everybody here is so supportive and really wants you to learn. There's a very big culture of, growing here. So I definitely would say, like, on the job, I learned so much, and that's why it's so important to find, a firm that's really going to want you to grow, because, you'll learn as you're doing it, right? And having that support is, so helpful for you at the, an early stage of your career.
Yeah, would you agree, Paul, just Fidelity being that type of environment that fosters learning? Like, you don't have to, you can have different backgrounds and different experiences, but if you're passionate about it, we can help you grow.
Yeah, I'd say so. I was one of those people who thought that they didn't care about culture. I was like, I just want to get paid. In all honesty, that's what I thought. Until I started working here and seeing the people, especially as a co-op. I came into this place like, oh, these people are all these professionals, but they're not going to give the time for us. I don't want to bother anyone. The first thing that my boss said to me was, you're starting off here, ask every question that you possibly can. I was like, I didn't want to annoy you, but at the same time, you realize very quickly you will learn much faster, you will be proficient, you'll be able to help the team a lot faster if you know what you're doing, and I can rely on you. So that's something that really stuck with me. Every time that I worked with co-ops, that's the first thing I said to them, ask a lot of questions. At the same time, that has to come from the organization and the culture.
Yeah,
that's where I really got that appreciation, because there's a lot of places out there where it's figure it out yourself. This, I would say, in my experience, has not been that type of organization. It's really get you comfortable, get you up to speed. We'll work with you in whatever way we have to get you to the place you need to be. And that, to me, was something that really stood out to me as a co-op, and obviously why something important to me coming back full time.
That's amazing. So what would you say is the most rewarding part of your job, and on the flip side, the most challenging, Meaghan?
That's a good question. A rewarding part of my job is, being able to, be that voice between the portfolio manager and our sales team and the end clients, right? We're taking a lot of very complex information, right? Our portfolio managers are very smart people, so we have to make that digestible and, make our sales team and clients feel comfortable with what's happening and that they're up to date. And also in our role, we almost act as like a subject matter expert, which makes it challenging, but, rewarding at the same time, right? We always need to be up to date and know everything that there is to know, right?
And there's so many new funds coming out, there's so many new products,
exactly.
Right? Yeah.
So we're always having to learn new things, but it feels really good to be like a trusted member around the firm, we have so many different teams that come to us and ask us, guidance on things and how they should proceed with different tasks. So it's a really rewarding feeling.
Yeah. And do you feel like there are a lot of people that help you along the way, even, many years into your job, like mentors, people you can still turn to, to help you get better at your job, would you say?
For sure, yeah. Like when I started, I actually had a one-on-one buddy. That's something that we do on our team. So you have one-on-one support. Whenever you have questions, you go up to that person. But even outside of my team, I've had so many scenarios with different directors, VPs even, where they've dropped what they're doing and helped me with random questions or learning how to use something. So it's definitely been so much support from so many different people.
And Paul, you've been able to move within the product team, now a portfolio strategist. Like who's helped you along the way to sort of encourage you to, expand your learning and expand your role?
Tough question. So many people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say in all honesty, especially starting off on the product research team, as an investment analyst, you're working with a number of other analysts. And essentially on that team, you're covering, at the time when I was on the team, we were covering different regions. So I covered all of our US equity, mutual funds. Right. Someone was covering Canadian, global. One of my colleagues at the time who had been working here for a few years kind of took me under his wing right away. A few of them, to be honest, but one in particular took me under his wing. And I've actually kind of followed and trailed him all the way to this side. He started this team back about 5 years ago, built out this entire platform that we're running. So he's been a massive mentor to me, but even the directors, the VPs that I've worked with along the way, this role that I'm in didn't exist when I started full time. They created this role for as this team was being built out. But what really, I guess, allowed me to move over to this side was they give you, especially starting out, opportunity to take on big projects, even if you're new. And that's something that stood out to me. So I put my hand up for everything in the beginning to try to get the most exposure I could, but also to learn as much as I possibly could right away. I think that opened some doors for me as well, where when this opportunity came up, a few people thought this would be a good fit for me, asked if I'd be open to considering something like that, and I was of the opinion where I'm more than happy to try new things to see what works best, and I'm happy that I did 2 years into it now, officially. So it's been great. There's been many mentors that I still talk to on a regular basis, and I try to do the same thing for newer hires that we've had as well, because if it weren't for them, I wouldn't be where I am.
Absolutely. So besides your day-to-day, on the product team, what else is it about the Fidelity community and culture that keeps you here? Meaghan?
Oh, that's a good question too. So many things. I feel like I've formed so many friendships across the firm. It's not like, you're on one team and these are the only people you talk to. There's so many friendships I've made in completely different departments, completely different teams, and it makes me want to come to the office every day just to see, all my friends. They don't feel like coworkers, they feel like friends. So that's definitely made me want to come back here every day.
How about you, Paul?
I just love what I do, in all honesty. I think the great thing with Fidelity is, especially in the groups that I've been a part of, I would assume many are like that within the firm, they really want to work towards what your strong suits are, what you want to focus on, what are you interested in, and let's try to work with you to get you in that direction. I've felt that they've done a fantastic job with many of us in the product department, for sure, going down that path. So I just, again, love what I do every day. I meet new people every single day. I'm having new conversations with advisors every day. And to me, I feel like I'm constantly learning and adapting, and that's really what keeps me going every day.
So lastly, to the students watching out there, what would you say to them if they want to potentially jump into financial services industry, possibly the product research? What would you say to them, Paul?
I'd say if you're still in school, if you're at a school that has a co-op or internship program, try to take advantage of it. If your school doesn't have that, we still offer summer internships or even off-cycle internships, so try to take advantage of them. Reach out to whoever it may be from the organization you're interested in, who's in more of that hiring or student program. That'd be a great first contact, and try to network with people in departments that you're interested in, so you get a better idea of what you may like, at the same time what you may not like. It's one of the things that no one really talks about for co-op. One of the best things that happened to me in co-op was getting a better idea of what I did not like and what I didn't want to do.
You have to test it out, right?
Yeah.
You have to sort of jump in there.
Internships, I think, are the best for that, best way in.
I agree.
Outside of that, if let's say you're finishing up your undergrad and you're thinking this is an area you want to be, but you have no experience there, you could take on we'll call it a more junior job that more of an entry-level job that you may be getting because you don't have, let's say, this higher experience or you haven't worked there already. And you should be able to move around if the organization is open to that. The amount of people that I've seen move departments from completely different areas because they've worked here, they've got the experience, they've networked while they were here, and moved into an area that was more interesting to them. They've done a fantastic job with that over the years from what I've seen in various departments.
Yeah, excellent. Anything to add to that, Meaghan?
That was very comprehensive. I was going to say the same thing. Like, networking is so important. It's not something I took advantage as much as I should have, but looking back, building connections, so helpful. It's an easy way to learn about what other people do, right? Like in a very casual way. And maintaining them as well is equally as important, right? So following up, any past managers you have, any past coworkers, maintaining that relationship is so important. I know when I applied full-time, I actually reached back out to old managers, so that really helped me have that reference. So
that's such a good point.
Yeah, maintaining that connection is really important.
Yeah, every connection can be a valuable one that can open doors to new opportunities. So Paul, Meaghan, thank you so much for being here, sharing your insights with our students. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much for having us.
And thanks so much to everyone who tuned in today. We hope you are feeling inspired to be on the lookout for upcoming career opportunities at Fidelity. Just visit fidelity.ca/careers for open job roles. And if you want to rewatch the show or share with those who missed it, you can find our shows on Fidelity Canada's YouTube page under the Live Videos tab. As always, thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next episode of Fidelity Next.